Hello and welcome. Let's continue with Moola Bandhas, practicing and reading our Chudamani Upanishads, the crown jewel of yoga. So we talked about Moola Bandha, actually how to perform it, and let's talk about benefits. So mantra 47 benefits of Moola Bandha. Sanskrit is Apana Prana yoraivam chan mutra purichyon yuva vati Vriddhopi satatam moolabandhanat. Translation: Apana fuses with prana. Thus the urine and excreta become less. With regular practice of moolabandha, even an old man becomes young. What an important one. So mantra, and maybe that's it doesn't mean specifically the man as a male. It's mean man as a human. So don't be very critique for this, because first of all it's been written by people who are not native speaker of English, similar like me. So we do have different, for example, like in my language, there's a very specific gender in every word that I say, and every adjective and every verb. So it doesn't matter is a table or the TV, like in Spanish, for example, it will have the gender, and I cannot change it because of my will, because it's just the rules of the language, and it's have nothing to do with feminism or liberation or anything like that. It's just the way the language come down deep to the roots of thousands of years of evolution, and how it's changed, and how it's and similar in the Sanskrit and whatever original language of the people who write this. Swami Satyananda Dharma, probably Indian descent, and so this is just like a translation. Yeah. Well. So commentary. The practice of Moola Bandha reverses the Apana Vayu, which normally flows downwards from the navel to the perineum, and unites it with Prana Vayu in the chest region. That's what we talked previous one. So this Apana Vayu flows down and it's reversed. So have a look. Previous one before mantra really talk about this. This redistributes the energy from the lower to the higher centers and aids the sublimation of the sexual energy and establishment of brahmacharya. So you kind of like, it's not like you lose your interest in sexual interactions, and then it's not, and it's even opposite. If you do have that it's on a different level. So if you think that whatever you experience without practicing yoga, interactions with the opposite sex, this kind of stuff, multiplied by 1,000 when you will start practicing your kriyas and yoga practices. So that's actually quite opposite, quite beneficial. But in the same time, it's not become your goal of life or necessary. How to say? It's one of the tools, not the only way. Like we live to eat or we eat to live. So that's difference like that. Moola Bandha symbolizes the ultimate aim of yoga, which is to find and experience the source of creation, Moola Prakriti, and redirect it upward by contracting Muladhara chakra and restraining the modifications of the mind. So you see, like constricting that and bringing it all upward, you change your mind basically. And talk specifically about the source of creation, how Kundalini, it's when you create it, it's actually descending towards Mool. And that's where it sleeps. The Kundalini is a 8 coiled or 3.5 time coiled snake or cobra. She sleeps and she keep your mouth closed, eyes closed, and rest your head on your entry to Sushumna. Yeah, so with the Prakriti coming out through, and then when you start practicing, it's awaken. Yeah. And the moment you awaken, it's not you cannot like think, oh, maybe she's awakened, maybe not. It will be profound experience. You will definitely know what's happening. It's like something in your life which you think, okay, I mean, maybe it happened, maybe it not. Yeah. Some people have illusions or feeling sensations. Maybe I'm experiencing migraines, maybe not. Maybe it's just a headache. Yeah. So this is kind of hard to differentiate. Although I know migraines could be very, very, very severe. Yeah. But it will be something like you cut yourself and you're bleeding right now. So it's obvious, it's straightforward. It's happening. So it's like that. So this experience not could be misunderstood. Yeah. Psychologically, Moola Bandha simulates intestinal peristalsis, whereby constipation and piles are effectively removed. Channeling stagnant energies in the reproductive region deals effectively with the male and female disorders of the urogenital tract. This practice also relieves depression, nervousness, and psychosis resulting from accumulation of unreleasing energy in the reproductive region. So you see, like, if you think about modern medicine, how there's no interpretation why in the modern medicine, I mean, talking about like Western medicine, yeah? I'm not talking about healers and this kind of stuff, traditional healers. So modern medicine, you go to clinic, whatever, you have symptom, this is the treatment. And more often, and I live in New Zealand, so in New Zealand or countries like that, Australia, I don't know, England, I've been in England, maybe States, I'm not sure, Canada probably. The point is that you go to clinic and you have symptom, and if they're not strong enough, you might be like sent home, okay, go and see, think about it. But nobody asks you what is the behind, why you came to that point when you have already this symptom and this whatever particular disease. For example, urinary tract, yeah? Is it infection? Is it chronic? Is it something deeper? Is it something happened? Or, is it bacterial? What is it? They could send you for analysis if it's not resolved for a long time or something. But first what they just give you some kind of pain relief. Maybe if it's something straightforward, quick analysis showed straightforward, some kind of infection, they can give you antibiotic or something, but that's it. And then it might come back to you, it might not, yeah? Luckily, if it's come back, what are you doing? And it could be physically, what are you doing mentally, emotionally? What is your fears that causing that? And when we do holistic healing with yoga, we're looking at all of aspects. What you done, what you haven't done in your childhood, your trauma, your patterns, what you do every day, how you sleep, what do you eat, how you eat, why you eat. All these things will affect in that and cause eventually to this disbalance, which resulted in that. It could be as simple as psychosis, nervosis, depression. It could be from this unreleased energy in reproductive organs. You cannot just release it by going and just do stuff like non-stop. So it might help you a little bit, but then you will develop different type of deeper psychosis and stuff like that. And what do people do with addictions and stuff, yeah? And then you will have even more enormous depression or even things like a cancer or can come, yeah? What we're doing in the practices, we balancing out our system, yeah? So think about it next time when you go to doctors, yeah? Or think about going to doctors. The mantra further states that even when old men become young with regular practice of these techniques, of course, you start moving the energy, start moving the blood, you start activating, waking up or removing energy and balancing yourself, and you become like a young. As I said, it's longevity. If you want to reverse your aging, practice yoga. This occurs because the apana energy, which is normally lost in the elimination process, is reversed by Moola Bandha and directed upward. The fusion of apana and prana also fans the fire element in the system. So it's waking up your fire, which activates samana, allowing all the ingested food to be fully digested, absorbed, and metabolized by the system. So if you know the Manipura, we talked about this before, it's your fire, Agni, yes, so fire is stored here. This is where everything burned down. That's why our energy, Amrit, dripping down from the throat as a drop, and it's burnt in the fire. Yeah? What you're doing, you're harvesting energy that dissipates through the legs and reversing it, and whatever you don't need, you basically a fire. It's not just the bad that causes aging, but it's also the one that transforms all the poison as well in us. Yeah, so that's what you're doing. You bringing it up, and while you bring it up towards the chest, in samana you purify it, the burning the poison away. Basically, that's how I can explain it. Food which is completely metabolized is converted into energy and produced fear, waste, and toxic residues. Yeah, that's what I say. So you basically magically healing yourself. It's alchemistry of our body. It's not just what you learn at school. So you're eating, there's a particular saliva, have particular elements, chemistry, and it goes down and digested and goes through intestine, and you go to the toilet. And proteins and carbohydrates comes and they build the blocks of the cells. That's what I learned at school, and I had to memorize it in. I remember exam, and I had a digestive tract. My biology exam question come to me. it's not just that. So on top of that, you have all these levels of energy body, chakras levels, hormonal, all the hormonal system, how it works. And yoga explained all of it. And you cannot just know that it exists, because how your body knows you need to go to sleep right now, you need to increase your acidity or not increase acidity in the stomach. Why? It's just, when it's disbalanced, you get sick, you have a heartburn, or you have indigestion, or you have a diarrhea, or you have constipation. Why? And different people have it all different and different times. It's all very connected and explained and can be controlled by yoga practice. I cannot stress it more. So then this metabolized and converted into energy and produce fear, waste, and toxins. That energy is then distributed throughout the system via Vyana Vayu, remember this over-encompassing wind. The quality of the waste matter is gradually reduced as more nutrition and fluids are absorbed rather than being exerted. Remember, we talked about it several mantras before, about the diet and stuff. So what food you eat, how you prepare it, combination of the food, and how much, if you eat like, it's all the research, but biologists, we're looking at how much meat consumed. So there's something like 80% of the meat which you eat, not absorbed by your body. It's get into the waste, but the body needs to put so much energy to get rid of it. And of course, it's not keep up with it, and most of this become toxins, because meat become toxic very fast the moment you digest it, because it's already been dead flesh, it's already poisoning you from within. And if your body cannot get rid of it in time, you start sluggish, then mucus, swollenness, we're so tired after we eat heavy, and then we get disease. If you have light digestion, as I say, you don't eat as much, so you don't need kilogram of meat, so you can only absorb 200 grams. So you can eat 200 grams, 100 grams of leaves or whatever, salad, and you can absorb a cucumber, and you can absorb 90% of it, for example. So think about these things next time you eat. In this way, the system is regenerated and does not suffer from disease or old age. It's exactly what I keep saying. Thus, the verse says that even an old man becomes young by regular practice of Moola Bandha. And when you become young in this sense that we just talked about, you also become young in sense of all the organs start well oiled, start function properly. You can have prolonged activities, sexual activities, or reproduction activities, and all this stuff. And if you look to the modern people, especially younger people, 30, 35, infertility, very common. Didn't happen before, don't think so. You might argue there was not research enough, there was not data enough, but we can tell it was. It is dramatic reduction right now with fertility, and it's not just, it is the food you eat, and it's the style of life, way of life, physical activity, blockage on energy, and the mental blockages as well. So information available for us right now, from any moment you can read about anything that's happening in the world. There's a lot of propaganda that find new ways to control you, and it's all blocking us physically, energetically. And at the same time, you have this propaganda you should go out and drink alcohol and do this and smoke whatever, and maybe you do, and especially when you're young, and it's dramatically reducing your health. And then you are about 35, 40, and you cannot understand. I had more or less a healthy lifestyle. I was following, drinking healthy milk for calcium, eating a lot of meat for my protein, have a couple drinks a week, Why I have all these problems now? I don't know. I was going to the gym, lifting the weights. That's not the healthy lifestyle. I hope you have one. Hari Om.